Assalamu alaikum students. Today we are going to do our next lesson. It is lesson 5 of our textbook and the title of the lesson is An Honest Young Man. Once upon a time there lived in a village a young man named Azim. He was intelligent and sincere, but more than anything he loved flowers. Nothing pleased him more than watching the lilacs, lilies and peonies as they bloomed in the springtime. In the winter he was inspired by the appearance of the beautiful narcissus. He could not choose a favorite flower, for he loved morning and evening glories, pomegranate and peach flowers, and the summer lotus that floated on the ponds. He enjoyed fragrant roses, hardy chrysanthemums and dazzling dahlias. Azim admired the landlord of the village because he had heard that he also loved flowers and supervised a beautiful garden on his huge mansion grounds. The landlord wanted an honest man to look after his garden and supervise the work of other gardeners. Well, in these lines we have came across that the lesson is about the honesty of Azim, who lived in a village and loved flowers. He admired village landlord as he also loved flowers. The landlord of the village needed an honest man to supervise the work of his gardener. One day the landlord sent word to all the young men in the village, announcing that at the end of that week he would hand out seeds to anyone who wanted to grow a flower. Whoever grows the finest flower from among all those brought before me, the landlord announced, will be given a grand prize and also the job of the head gardener. When Azim heard the news, he filled a bright blue pot with moss and compost, topsoil and sandy loam. Sandy loam is a kind of fertile soil. Satisfied that his soil was rich and moist, he carried it to the landlord's house. There he stood in line among many other. Each young man held a pot, some huge, some tiny, some round, some tall and slender, and each received a seed from the landlord's own hand. Azim pressed the seed into the soil and carefully covered it with a light coating to keep it warm. Then he hurried home. Then Azim tended. Tending means cared his seed with the same devotion he offered all his other plants. He was careful not to give it too much or too little water. At the proper times he treated it with fertilizers and was careful to protect it, like all the others, from insects, dust and mold. As the months passed, Azim's other plantings burst through the soil and began to grow, but he was disappointed that nothing sprouted. Sprouted means put out shoots in his bright blue pot. That's odd, he said. Perhaps it doesn't need so much sun. So he moved the pot to another room, but nothing happened. Perhaps his room is too cool, he said, and so he carried this blue pot into warmer room. Still nothing happened. Well, in these lines we came across that one day the headman of the village summoned all the young men of the village and asked them to grow flowers. Among them the best one will be rewarded with grand prize and the job of the head gardener. He himself will give seed for growing flowers. Azim also went there and caught seed. He put it into soil and cared for it regularly, but months passed and nothing sprouted in the blue pot. Text again. Now the time was nearing to visit the landlord again, and Azim's bright blue pot stood empty. He was filled with despair. Despair means disappointment. Each time he looked at it, what could I be doing wrong, he wondered. He visited every gardener he knew, and to each he told the tale of his seed. They shook their heads. No one knew what could be wrong. But some said it was obvious that he was not meant to get the prize and become the head gardener in the landlord's gardens. Others told him he must add more soil or more water or to fertilize less, while a few others told him to forget his foolish plans. But Azim's parents listened to his worries and only smiled. "Don't worry, son, you are doing your best," they said. "That is all any of us can do." "But I have failed," Azim sighed as he stared down at the barren soil in his pot. "It is time to see the landlord, and I have let him down." "Simply tell him what has happened," his father said. "Your only duty is to tell the truth." His heart was nearly breaking with disappointment. On the appointed day, as he walked to the place, when he arrived, tears fell from his eyes, for before him stood a sea of young men, each holding a flower more exquisite, means very beautiful, than the one before. The orchids were delicate and elegant, the lilies fragrant and full, the peonies bursting with colors. Their owners hold them proudly. "Look at mine," they called, holding their plants high as the landlord walked through the crowd. He nodded. Nodded means moving head pleasantly as he passed by. Nothing the bellflowers, the forget-me-nots, the foxgloves flowers in every shade of the rainbow. Sim had never seen a sight so beautiful, so of his sadness left him as he inhaled. Inhale means taking in, smell, the fragrance. He wondered. He marveled at the size and variety of the blooms. At last the landlord reached him. Azim bowed his head. "Where's your flower, young man?" the landlord asked. Azim looked up and saw a gleam shine in the landlord's eyes that surprised him. "Sir, I have failed you," he said sadly. "I cared for my seed, but as you can see, I was not able to grow a flower for you. I hope you will forgive me." But the landlord's face lighted up with smile brighter than even the flowers all around him. "You are my head gardener and the winner of the prize," the landlord said, taking Azim's hands in his. "But, sir, I am the only person here who failed." The landlord shook his head. "On the contrary," contrary means to the opposite, he explained. "You see, I boiled these seeds before I handed them out. None of the seeds should have grown, but all these people were so eager for the prize and the job that they wanted only to please me with the beauty of their flowers, and thereby means so gain my job and prize. They didn't care enough for honesty, for truth. You alone have proved that you are worthy winner." Worthy means able to. And so it was that the boy with the empty pot won the prize and got his favorite job. Thus we can conclude that a person who is honest is always honored and successful. Now in these paragraphs we have come across that he took the advice from many, but all in vain. His parents asked him to tell the landlord reality. He must tell the truth. He was disappointed but went to landlord on the appointed day. The people were present there holding beautiful flowers. When landlord inquired Azim about his plant, he confessed his failure. On his surprise, landlord awarded him with prize and head gardener's job. Then he said that before handing out these seeds, he boiled all seeds. So none of the seeds should have grown, but all people were greedy for the prize, and we can say that all were greedy for the prize and job that they used all false means to please the Lord. Only Azim showed honesty by telling the truth, which landlord wanted, so he was awarded with prize and job. So we can conclude by saying that honesty and honorable persons are always rewarded. Now come to exercise. We have to do question and answers. First one is, who was Azim? Come to here I have answer for you. You have to write down it like this. Azim lived in a village. He was intelligent and sincere. He loved flowers. Second question is, what pleased him more than anything? Come to very first page. The answer is from second line. Nothing pleased him more than watching the lilacs up till peonies. It is the answer of second question. Question third. Why did Azim admire the landlord? It is from the Azim admired the landlord of the village up till loved flowers. This is the answer of question 3. Question 4 is, what did the landlord do to choose a man as his head gardener? The answer is from one day up till grow a flower. It is answer of question 4. Then question 5 is, what happened to the seed given to Azim? The answer is from the word as the months passed, Azim's other plantings up till, you have to write it in his bright blue pot. It is the answer of question 5. As the months passed from this word to pot. It is answer of question 5. Question 6 is, why was Azim upset? Here the answer is from the time was nearing to visit the landlord again and Azim's bright blue pot stood empty. He was filled with despair. Here you have to insert one sentence that is why he was upset. After writing he was filled with despair, that is why he was upset. Come to question 7. What did Azim's father tell him to say to the landlord? Then you have to write down the answer like this. His father told him to simply tell the truth before the landlord. Question 8. Why did the landlord select Azim as his head gardener? Answer is, the landlord selected Azim as his head gardener due to his honesty as he told him the truth. And the last one, what is the moral of the story? We can say the moral of the story is, a person who is honest is always honored and successful. So question answers are done.